Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi.
What's going on, comic fam? It's your boy, the Bearded Comic Bro, and it is time again for another episode of Craft and Comics. And of course, as always, I am joined by my friend. You know him, you love him. Give it up for my boy Bouff.
Hey everyone, good to see you. I am Bouff here with the Bearded Comic Bro, but we're not alone.
We are not alone. We, for the first time ever on Craft and Comics, have our very own special guest. So welcome to the show, Mr. Austin Heck.
Yay!
So Austin,
Thanks, guys.
why don't you tell the comic fam who they know me, they know Bouff a little bit from watching our show. Tell them a little bit about yourself. Let them know who you are.
Yeah, man, I go by GA Comic Book Guy on Instagram. Been collecting for, I call it adult collecting, for about 5 years now or so.
That sounds so serious.
Yeah, right? That's when you get really hardcore into it. Like, man, I've got some money and I can actually get some books. Been doing that for a little while. Been on Instagram for about 3.5, 4 years now. Kind of getting to know people off there and everything, and love Marvel and everything Marvel has to offer. I'm a Marvel fanboy.
But as of late, you have maybe veered off your path and maybe sunk your toes in the other pool.
He's dipping his toes in the DC pool a little bit.
I have. I've been reading some Green Lantern lately, especially in the DC pool there, and getting into that. And I really like the sci-fi action and going on with that and the storytelling there. So there's definitely some good stuff out there if you find the right love in another genre, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah,
Man.
but you make it sound so casual. You're starting to read Green Lantern, then you go pick up a copy of Showcase with the first appearance of Hal Jordan. Just casually getting into the hobby.
I don't want to get too into it, guys, but I just have a first appearance. You know, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I might have fell in love with a character there and decided to jump on that train.
That is awesome.
So I am surrounded by Marvel fanboys here, so I'll try and keep the DC train rolling strong on this. However, so we all have kind of gotten to know each other from the Comic Collective. And Austin, you're on the show today, so tell us about the Comic Collective a little bit for those that might not know.
Yeah, it's a comic-centric club that was founded in 2018 by myself and a couple other guys that got together and from the IG comic community and was like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's start up a club here. At the time, there was only one other club that was out there. And we thought, it'd kind of be cool to have something else out there too for people that maybe weren't interested in that type of club or something like that. We decided to go ahead and make it a comic-centric club, but not just with comics. We put it out there that we were looking for people who were into comic art. Maybe they were a Funko collector, an action figure collector, statue collector, that kind of thing. And the response has just been overwhelming. About every 6 months, we kind of allow people to put in applications to come over and try to see if this is something that they want to do and everything. It's great. I mean, we bond together. You guys know we got like a little club chat. We all talk about things. We help each other find books. So it's really kind of cool how it's kind of grown and taken off. And we've had so many people that come over and are interested in joining in or talking about the club and that kind of stuff.
Just a diverse group of people, tons of interests. We even saw some stuff today in the chat. Not everyone agrees on everything, but they respect each other's opinions.
Yeah, even though some of you guys have wrong opinions about DC movies and stuff, but that's another Craft and Comics for another day. So we've talked a little bit about who we are. We've introed you guys. If you're still sticking with us, you're probably sitting here going, get to the beer. So let's talk our craft beers. And since we're talking, we're not Marvel team, but we're talking all team ups. We're talking some of our favorite team ups in comics. we thought, what could be some cool team ups that we might be able to find with beer? So, you know what, Boof, why don't you start us off? Tell us
Please,
what
I'm
you're
very thirsty. Thank you. Thank
drinking.
you so much. All right, so I'm starting out with a really great collab. Well, I don't know it's really great because I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really excited to. This is from Collective Arts. You may know them from Canada, one of the most popular Canadian breweries. Their can art is the bomb. They have rotating can art no matter what the beer is. You could be, searching out your old favorite and it's going to look different on the label. So that's pretty awesome. They teamed up with Dancing Gnome, an awesome name, and they busted out Trading Tales. This is a Strata and Citra dry hop lager. So it's got, I'm expecting that nice kind of crisp, real cold, maybe slightly dry lager with a nice hop punch to it. So let's see. And looks like I'm getting that big lager head on it. And, kind of like I'm looking through, a Budweiser, a Miller Lite, similar in color, a real, kind of pale, slightly amber. And you definitely get that maltiness with the smell, what you expect from a lager, but there's a little bit of a hop bite. Let's see what's going on. No doubt about it, I'm drinking a lager, but they've hopped the heck out of this. So it's there. I'm not drinking a pale ale. I don't think I'm drinking an IPA. Make no mistake about that. This is a hop lager, and it's a fantastic blend of styles. It's super refreshing. I rarely, if ever, drink lagers unless someone's tossing me like a cold Budweiser in slow-mo at a pool party. This really meets my needs for all the hard work I've been doing out in the yard today. This is excellent and a fantastic team up.
Well, as you enjoy that, GA, why don't you tell us what you got to the table today?
So tonight I brought the GA. Of course, my IG name stands for Georgia because I'm down here in the Hotlanta area. I've got a Monday Night Brewing. This is one of my favorite local breweries. Everything I've tried of theirs, amazing. Love it. Drink them. Probably my favorite local brewery, hands down. What I brought tonight was a Dr. Robot.
Ooh, cool name.
Yeah, they always have really cool names with theirs, like Han Brolo and I'm on a Boat and stuff like that. So this is a blackberry lemon sour.
Ooh. We're speaking my language.
Yeah. I had actually tried this a couple of nights ago, and I was like, this is the one. I got to bring this on the show. I got to let everybody know about it. Yes. Unfortunately, I can't do the pour tonight because my kitchen's under remodel and everything's packed away.
You know what?
But you can open it and drink it, though.
But I will. Go ahead and sample it for everybody, and I'll do the southern thing, I guess, and just drink it right out of the can.
Oh, man. Yeah, if you've watched Crafting Comics, you know I am a sour fan indeed, so I am jealous of that.
It is really good. You get that blackberry, you get that lemon taste, and honestly, it tastes just like a light beer, and somebody took some delicious lemonade and just mixed it together.
Awesome.
That sounds... You sold me on the name, you sold me on the can, and then you just sold me on what you described. I'm like, I want that in my mouth now. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so, I want an ice cold one of those on a hot, sunny day.
Yes.
Right after I finish up the yard work.
Yes.
It's perfect for that after the lawn mowing kind of beer, drink, sit back, cool, relax. Man, job well done.
Awesome.
So I guess I'm the last one to go. I dug deep into the fridge today, and I found one that I know is old. It's a year old, so I'm playing a little gamble here, because will it keep? Will it not? I don't know. And you want to know how I know it's a year old? Because it is a pumpkin pie beer. And so
Oh,
I'm doing the greatest team up. So we've got Braxton Brewery, which is a brewery in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they teamed up with Graeters, which is a popular ice cream company in Ohio, also from Cincinnati. And they have done a couple different series of the small batch, the handcrafted batch of the breweries team up to make a beer with the ice cream company. So this is an ale that's, you're flavored with your pumpkins, your pumpkin spices, the sugar, all this tough stuff that you get in, in your Oktoberfest beers. And I thought, you know what? It's a great team up. It'll be on the shelves here in the fall. So people can get hyped for it if they like it. I don't know the last time I ever had a pumpkin beer in June, but we'll see, and we'll see if it keeps. So that's what I'm excited for. But
it's like one of your mystery unboxings. You don't know what you're going to get.
you know what? If it still tastes the way that I know it should taste, I'm gonna hit you with something that if you've watched my unboxings, you'll know. Ooh, it smells delicious. Still, you can see that it's dark. That's Chris. I'm going right over the computer, so that's a risky Roger move right there. But
are we gonna hear it?
That's what I'm waiting on.
ooh wee, let's go!
There it is.
Yeah, still is good. It still tastes
right.
like you're drinking a slice of pumpkin pie. So if that's your thing, if I know some people don't like pumpkin, I love a good fall Oktoberfest beer. So yeah, it's good. So we've talked, and to our guests, we've talked about our beers. We've kind of hinted on our topic a little bit. So without further ado, let's talk comics.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus.
All right, gang. So we are now getting ready to talk about some comics. And Bouff, you came up with a great topic for comics. So why don't you tell us what you decided you wanted to talk about tonight?
Well, I'm always thinking, how can we work the comics and beer together? It's nice to have a theme. We're talking brewery collaborations and, flavor team ups. Well, why not the best team ups in comics, or at least some of our favorites? I mean, there's a wide scope. People are going to be all over the map on this. We even had a ton of stuff that we're not even talking about today. But I mean, comics, team ups in comics, you're going to see them all the time. I don't care what book you're reading, a small press indie book, one of the big two, there's always team ups. Heroes and villains. It makes for a good comic book.
And since we're talking team ups, we said we got to bring in our boy GA to talk and be our first team up on the show. So, Bouff, what's our first team up we're talking about today?
Well, you were so kindly making me aware that I'm solely a Marvel guy. So I did this strictly for you because it's one of my favorite Spider-Man books. It's, kind of thrown back to our first episode of One Shots. It is Spider-Man, Batman, J.M. DeMatteis, Mark Bagley. This is as 90s as it gets. They're teaming up against the Joker and Carnage. There's Arkham Asylum. It's kind of a rehash of their origin stories, but how they kind of parallel with each other. There's a gunman in Batman's, there's a gunman with Uncle Ben's, and there's these dream sequences kind of mirroring each other.
Right. They start off with the dream sequences.
Absolutely.
And they do that kind of switcheroo right at the end of each dream where it's like, oh, Batman's dreaming and it's Carnage, and
correct.
And Spider-Man's dreaming and it's Joker at the end. So yeah, you've got the dream sequence, and I mean, you've got Batman.
It's awesome.
Spider-Man.
It's Batman and Spider-Man. You even said this before, and we differ in opinion on this. Batman's rogues gallery is second to none, but Spider-Man is a close second. I'll kindly disagree and put Spidey first, or maybe even tied with Batman. They're both exceptional. Their villains are the best. You're talking two of the best, the Joker and Carnage, two psychotic villains who actually work very, very well with each other. I mean, Carnage wants to help Joker, so he's this full-on psycho, so he just throws his symbiote up Joker's nose, and he breaks the implant chip that Arkham put in there, and then so the Joker can go full-on nuts. And did I forget to mention, it's drawn by Mark Bagley.
You
One-
love your Mark Bagley.
Easily.
I don't think you brought a
one
book to
of-
the table on Grafton Comics, and Mark Bagley hasn't been involved in one episode yet.
I'm going to make it consistent. He is one of the greatest Spider-Man artists ever. I'm fortunate to have met him. I got some cool signed swag. It's just, it made a mark on me for comics because that's when I started collecting. It was the end of Eric Larson's run. Boom, Mark Bagley jumps on Amazing, and that's what hooked me into comics. And this book is just exceptional. You know what? I just gotta, I'll find a splash page, or not even. Look at the interior art. Spider-Man just punching Carnage. That's beautiful. That's awesome. And a symbiote shouldn't, like, his face shouldn't break like that, but Bagley was able to do it, and it's awesome. This is a fantastic one-shot. It's actually, it commands a higher price than I expected it to on eBay, because, I guess it's one of those, gambles. Is it going to work? And, it sure as heck did. Pick yourself up a copy. Maybe you'll find it in the dollar bin somewhere. Grab it at a show. It's easily worth the $5 cover price. Absolutely. For any Batman or Spider-Man fan, add this book to your collection. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I've never read that. Man, you just sold me on it big time. Of course, Georgia. Mark Bagley's kind of local around here and fantastic guy. I've had the opportunity to meet him a couple times, like you said you have, and great artist. And like you said, that's probably the two greatest rogue galleries in all of comics. I mean, and probably the two most iconic characters from each brand when you really think about it with Batman and Spider-Man. So I'm definitely going to be looking for that after that one. That's just sounds like maybe the greatest team up of all time.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It holds no stakes. There's no relevance in the continuing history of either character, but it's awesome. It's rereadable, and it's absolutely worth your time and money.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of either of those, it's one to check out for sure. And
correct. You could be solely a fan of Batman or Spider-Man. You'll still find something to like about it because of the quality of the story and art.
Right. So good. Well, to keep this train rolling, because we can talk about Spider-Man and Batman forever, and Bouff can talk about Bagley for literally ever. So to just keep this going. So I'll put a little note in the description. If you want to just skip past Bouff's love affair with Bagley, you can just hop on to this part of the show.
Or to the 20-minute mark. And
that's right. I'll put little clips in there so people know where to jump on. So, but if you're here for Bagley, there you go. And that's no knock, because I love him too. But, well, so why don't we then? Because Bouff, you kind of talked to one that you and I've read a little bit. GA, you haven't gotten to read, but you're like, I'm in now. So let's talk about a team up that we have both read, that we're both excited about. And this is fresh. This is new, as in, like, this team up just ended. And so we're talking about the greatest Saturday morning cereal bowl team up you could ever imagine. We're talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So GA, just tell me, what do you like about this series? What drew you into this team up?
Man, this is a 90s growing up era kid's dream right here. When I first heard about this thing going down, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this on the pull list. I'm going to give it a shot. You read issue 1, you're like, dear Lord, just give it to me every week. I don't want to wait a month for this. Like, every week this needs to come out. I mean, you literally have the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles just going at it. It's amazing.
Yeah, and what's great is I feel like these team ups, sometimes their storylines can be a little like hard to buy into a little bit. But I thought it was really good. They start out, and no real spoilers because it's first issue. So they start out with basically Tommy is a part of the Foot Clan, and which you're like, what? Okay. And obviously stuff happens that you might go, oh, okay, that makes sense going forward. But we briefly talked before hopping on the show here, and think about, like, if there's not a toy line that comes out because of this comic, they have dropped the ball. I don't know who has the rights to Turtles and Power Rangers right now, but if the same company doesn't, they better do their own team up, and drop these toys, because I will buy every single stinking one, and I know you will, GA. But there are, and I'm going to just spoil it. So if you don't want to know anything about the series, just turn off now, for the 6 people that are watching anyways. And
Earmuffs.
when they get to the end and the turtles get a hold of the morphers, and that's how they leave you at one of the issues, I'm like, by golly, if they don't have the turtles turn into Power Rangers by the next episode, I'm gonna be so mad. And
You done?
No. And it was amazing. Boof, I'm gonna talk all in the day about this, so you might as well just deal with it. I'm done, yeah. So the Power Rangers get the morphers and turn into Power Rangers.
Amazing.
Like, and then just think about the crossovers between, it's everything the child in me wanted.
I would buy those.
We could talk about these sugar-filled cereal kid delights of mine forever, but let's just keep this fun train rolling. So we've talked Spider-Man Batman team up, we've talked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Rangers team up. Boo, hit us with our next team up.
You want some more 90s indulgent that's not a crossover but pure fan service? How about the Rons? Ron Mars, Ron Lim, Silver Surfer, the Herald Ordeal. A 6-part story uniting all the former Heralds of Galactus, or those we knew about at the time, teaming up against his newest Herald, Morg the Executioner, who's got a really bad all-over body rash, not unlike Deadpool's. It's a tough look. And he's got this receding hairline, and it's all white, but he looks pretty savage. He's got this crazy axe. Like, he likes to destroy. He's seeking places for Galactus to ravage that are full of people because they're full of people. And then it takes Silver Surfer, Fire Lord, a resurrected Airwalker recharged with the power cosmic, Nova, not Richard Rider Nova, but Frankie Rayner Nova, the former Herald of Galactus, and Terrax, the terrible, the tamer, the titillating, he's gone by so many adjectives. And it takes them all to go up against Morg. And with Terrax and that crazy axe of his, obviously a crazy throwdown with Morg. I mean, it's pure spectacle. It's 90s goodness with Ron Lim and the Silver Surfer and all the accompanying characters, and it's amazing. Find it in your dollar bins. I'm confident you can. It's absolutely worth your time because it's just fun. It's nothing of substance. It's just awesome, and that's all it needs to be.
I think this next team up is something that we've all been familiar with to some degree. Even if you're not a fan in the DC books, the Green Lantern, Green Arrow team up, and that is some goodness. So GA, this was actually one that you kind of threw on the table a little bit. Why did it draw you? Because I know you are a Marvel guy at heart, so why this amazing DC team up?
Man, well, I was trying to fan service you a little bit and get some DC action.
I love it. You
going
guys
on,
just we're just trying to please you, so you bring us on your show, and I'm okay with that. That's why that's what I'm here for. So,
but I mean, it's one of those things that when you really truly go back and you look at DC history, or just comic book history in general. I mean, I already said earlier, I kind of love the Green Lantern. Really, the character is awesome. I like the intergalactic adventures and quests going on there, and just the planetary stuff, the sci-fi action, that kind of thing. Arrow, the DC TV show, of course. I watched that since day one when that came out. It got me into Green Arrow a little bit. I kind of started flipping through, reading a little bit of New 52, the Rebirth kind of stuff and everything. Got me a little bit more intrigued when I started getting back into the DC, collecting a little bit and everything. And when you truly go back and you look at that, I just think it's an exceptional series. When you literally are getting two opposite really things going on. You have that kind of gritty street hero, and you've got this intergalactic guy. and somehow they become kind of best friends.
Well, and that's what I think is the beauty of it. Is they literally, I feel like the editors were like, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, you both have green in your name. Let's team up. Like, I feel like that probably was how it originally started. And then I don't know if you guys have read the book Slugfest, where they kind of talk about the DC Marvel from the get-go of just, it's a really great book if you're a comic fan. And I actually think the Russo brothers are going to do a miniseries off of it, talking about, and it really just dictates, like, talks about DC from this get-go of their publishing to the Marvel, and then kind of their battle back and forth throughout the decades. It is a comic book fan's dream. Highly recommend checking out Slugfest. But they even talk about this team up, because I think at that time of era it was early 70s, I think 1970 is when it first came out.
Yep.
DC was kind of getting into that. They were getting to know that their characters didn't deal with real life topics and real life subject that much, and that's kind of what Stan Lee brought with Marvel and took with it. And I think DC kind of had this idea, and they gave it to Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, who ran with it and took on some, big topics that were very relevant, socially back then, that if you're picking up, though, an issue right now, it's still super relevant almost 50 years later, which is insane to me, because of all the topics that they're talking about. And they both have their different standpoints of, Green Arrow, where he's coming from, and Green Lantern, where they're coming from. And I think it's just a beautiful mesh of the two coming together.
No, I agree with you. I mean, when you look at that run and you truly see, I think it was issue 75 through like 120 something. So you almost got like 50 issues out of it. We get John Stewart. He's created and becomes a Green Lantern that takes on some social justice issues that, like you said, is still going on today. You get the drug issues where Green Arrow discovers Speedy's a drug addict. Right on the cover.
Like, that's a key people are nuts for. Like, that's how big of an impact that had.
Well, and I think I don't know if you guys have actually gotten a chance to read that issue. If you haven't, check it out on DC Universe or something, or Comixology, because it's there and it's really good. But like, I think what it even deals with the drug issue, but it deals with, like, I feel like people who are struggling with issues that they go to someone who goes for help. And like Speedy kind of, even towards the end of the issue, is like, so say I have this friend who, his mentor kind of has left and has kind of left him alone for the last couple months, and he goes to the junk, as they call it, to get his fix, to find, that support and stuff. And Green Arrow just kind of brushes them off like, oh, I've heard every sob story there is. And then like 3 pages later, that's the iconic scene of where you see Speedy shooting up, and Speedy's like, looks at him like he's an idiot. That Green Arrow's like, who did you think I was talking about? Like, and I think that's the reality of just, it's a beautifully done Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil talking about just real life issues that I think still are very strongly, whether it's drugs or race relationships or anything, even the poverty standpoints of, the slumlords and apartment. Like, I mean, there's so much of that stuff that I think is still relevant. And I think it's just for something that I feel like DC probably didn't mean to create. And by like, yeah, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, sure. And then Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil just ran with it, and I thought it was fantastic. But, so there's no easy way to transition from an iconic team up like this with just, the topics that it talks about, to then our final team up that we're going to discuss. And you know what? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot again, because I want it to be I want to be on record that you brought this to the table. Like, We're all ready to talk about it. We're all there, but I just want people to know in the comic YouTube verse that this is on you.
It's not the blame game. It's really to credit you.
No, I'm blaming you.
I feel so bad. I'm about to uncork this last issue on people after we just reviewed probably the greatest Bronze Age DC run ever, and we're going to talk about this next book, and people are going to be like, that's seriously the top book you picked.
And well, it's no order, but that's just how we do it. We want to bring people in from all walks of comic life here.
This last team up is the greatest thing that was ever created in the history of comics. It is Marvel Team Up 137, which Greg actually has right over his shoulder there, perched upon that shelf. The most ridiculous book that has ever been made. And I stumbled across this book back when I used to help my former local comic book store before it closed down. I helped sort their back issues from time to time. And as I'm going through it, I'm like, what is this? And I decided to open it up and take a look at it. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but it totally works.
Awesome. It's because it does not take itself seriously. That's why it works, because it's a big joke, but it's a well-constructed joke.
So for people that don't know Marvel Team Up 137, and you didn't get a chance to see it, this is the goodness that he's talking about right here. We've got Aunt May and Franklin Richards teaming up with Galactus. And you know what? Since I have it out right now, just GA, talk about what's that in my boy Franklin's hand right there.
This issue can simply be drawn up into, and I don't know the history behind it, if Hostess ended up getting a take out of this or anything, but this thing is a gigantic, nothing more than ad for Twinkies. That's what you can describe it as. It is the greatest Twinkie issue of all time.
Are there any other comics in that category?
This may take the cake.
Like, so you guys are big Marvel guys. So Galactus, right? Like, Eater of Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And in this issue, they're like, he's hungry. So Franklin Richards is like, hey, Galactus, I know you like worlds, but I got something better for you. I got a Twinkie. And he literally is like, and then he's like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then, like, Aunt May, who is all Nova out by now as a herald, right? Like, because of course she's going to be a herald of Galactus.
And she was not in the Herald ordeal of, why, I don't know.
Greatest, I don't know either. But they're at a circus just chilling, and Galactus. Anyways, she then spends the entire rest of the issue going around and getting Twinkies for Galactus. Like, that's the storyline through and through.
It is. And she becomes Golden Oldie, I believe is her name, where she's the herald for Galactus. And like you said, this would have been the greatest thing ever in your Herald's ordeal if they had just had her in the background, just chilling, flying by or something. I don't know, maybe she is. Maybe she's hidden and you didn't see her.
When's the last time you've read the Herald of...
It's been a long time. I have to, maybe Ron Lim snuck her in somewhere.
Man, Comic Fam, if you know that and it is, let us know in the comments, because that'd be fantastic. And what's surprising, so Austin, you dropped this issue and you're like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, okay. And surprisingly, I owned it. I was like, that actually sounds oddly familiar, like an Aunt May book. Like, I don't know why. And I don't remember if I just picked it up in the dollar bin, because I'm like, what is this absurdity? But I read it today, I think I know for the first time. And I was looking, they dropped the ball. There's no Hostess ads in there at all. There's nothing. I mean, but I guess when your entire comic's a Hostess ad, so.
Now, what it's missing is a cameo by Winston from the Ghostbusters telling Galactus, tell him about the Twinkie.
That would have been A+ work.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or to have
could have snuck in.
Or to have a team up, do an amalgam series and have Martian Manhunter and his Oreos come into the equation. And what's a better tasty treat? I feel like that's a comic book crafting comics someday. The top food in comics. So man, this has been a fun episode. GA, thank
Absolutely.
you so much for hopping on. Hopefully you will be down to join us again. I know this was a blast. It's good to have someone to help counterbalances Bouff's love with Bagley a little bit, so it works.
I'm just happy I didn't pick ASM 361 through 363 of team ups.
That was on the list.
It was.
And so, Comic Fam, let us know in the comments, what are some of your favorite team ups? Because like we said, we had a huge list, because you could go on. You don't do comic books and don't do team ups. I mean, that's what sells. So what are some of your favorite team ups that we didn't talk about? What are some that you're excited that maybe we talked about that you're going to check out for the first time? Because I know a lot of you probably are checking out that Aunt May issue now. So watch out. It's going to pop up on Comic Tom's top 10 hot radar now.
Yeah,
Because
we just like
we're
spike the
just
price
on
of
the
them all of a sudden.
the eBay sales on this Marvel team up, Marvel Aunt May Galactus is just skyrocketing. I don't know.
Like all of a sudden it's on Key Collector.
That's right. So, but thank you all for joining in. This was a fun episode, as always, of Crafting Comics. I hope you all can take some time to curl up, grab a book, and nerd out. Peace.
Cheers.